Hey, welcome to Beat the Odds. Today we answer one of life's great mysteries. Is bigger better? Bets. We're talking sports bets. Beat the Odds starts right now.
From our Las Vegas studios, this is Beat the Odds, sponsored by Superbook Westgate Las Vegas.
Well, welcome to Beat the Odds. Welcome back inside our Las Vegas studio. I'm Dave Hall.
And I'm Mariah Janos. We're going big for today's show. Big bets, big risk, and hopefully a big reward.
Yeah, nobody bets bigger than Mattress Mack. He just won $75 million on Houston winning that baseball title. Mattress Mack is on the show today. We're going to ask him about making all those crazy bets.
Also coming up, for those of us who don't bet millions, Fat Jack and Teddy will have advice of when to go big or go home.
Hey, Brandon Marshall always goes big. The champ will tell us his biggest surprise players, good and bad.
And I'll be back at the Superbook Westgate Las Vegas with how the books handle big bets. Dave?
All right, we'll be back with Mariah in a bit. First, greeting to the boys. Hey,
How
guys.
are you? Good to see you.
All right, so that's the theme, Fat Jack and Teddy. We're going big. It has nothing to do with your nickname.
No, picking up women during the day when I was single, I had to convince people bigger was always better, and sometimes it worked, most of the time not.
Well, you got a wife out of it, so congratulations.
Want to know, that's right.
All right, so Teddy, let's start with you in terms of betting advice. Bigger, better, what say you?
So when I moved to Las Vegas in 1998, I was told, and I came out with a philosophy. Straight bet means no parlays, no teasers, no nothing, and flat bet. Find a unit size and stay with that unit size. And that's what I did the first few years in town. So is bigger better for beginning bettors? Not so much. More experienced bettors can and should make step-up size wagers when they're seeing things clearly. And the first thing I want to point out here is called the Kelly criteria. And look, it's a short show. This is something you might want to Google. But okay. The Kelly criteria talks about how you can bet more when you have a bigger advantage. So if you can effectively calculate your advantage, you're allowed to bet more than your standard size wager. But we're talking about step-up wagers, Dave.
Yeah.
And with step-up wagers, for sure, double, okay. 2.5 times, okay. You don't want to factor 10 times your normal bet or 20 times your normal bet or 100 times your normal bet. That's when people get destroyed.
So if you're a $10 bettor, don't go betting $100.
Exactly.
25 bucks.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, Jack, this is going to be fun. You don't agree necessarily with Teddy.
I definitely do not. And by the way, Teddy's talking about Teddy, who knows how to handicap correctly. I certainly can do some of that, but I will tell you, for everybody else out there listening, probably not a good idea. Here's why. If I told you, Dave, right now that I was going to give you 100 games and you were going to win 60 and you were going to lose 40, would you vary your bets? Or would you stay the bet as much as you could and take your profit?
Seems like the smart thing would be to stay the
exactly,
course.
And that's the problem. Most people out there that are varying their bets, they do it because they realize that I can't win more than I lose. And so there are opportunities for guys that know exactly what they're doing. For most people listening, it's not a good idea. I don't ever want to go 3-1 and lose money. You can't control in-game injuries. You can't control in-game turnovers. And so those are the two most important things. If you get a quarterback that goes out early in the game, a team turns it over 4 or 5 times, that becomes a problem in getting that one win that you've pushed up. And the bigger problem is that in a league that favorites are rarely going to have value, you're going to be asked to find value in underdogs. And so that, to me, also is contrarian to pressing bets up. So for me personally, and frankly most people listening, probably not a good idea.
Teddy, how would you respond?
I gotta say, if you give me and say I'm going to win 60% of my bets and I can up my bet sizes sometimes, I'll absolutely do it because I have a 60% chance of winning the bigger bet. So mathematically, again, this is mathematically, it's not for beginning bettors.
Yeah,
but
that's
if you
the key.
have some experience, if you have an idea of what we're looking for, and we'll talk about that more later in the show. But there's a reasonable rationale to adjust your unit sizes, not like crazy, but moderately.
Teddy can't get out of his brain. Most people do not need to be varying bets. 60 and 40 is plus 20. Take your profit, bet as much as you can on all of them, and move on down the line. That's my opinion. So we definitely disagree, which is nice.
All right. Thanks. Did we just have our first fight?
No. There's a lot of love here. But yeah, this is one of those things in gambling.
No, it's great to have the different perspectives. No doubt about it.
If everybody thought the same way about everything, there'd be no gambling marketplace. There has to be a difference of opinion.
I would never say that my way is the only way to get to the finish line. I know Teddy would say the same thing. There's a group of people out here. We know how to get where we need to go. a lot of different ways to do it.
And we're going to dive deeper into both in a little bit. Thanks, guys. Well, let's pretend you have a shoebox full of cash to bet on football. How do the books handle those big bets? Well, Mariah is at the Superbook Westgate Las Vegas with more on that.
Thanks, Dave. I'm here with John Murray, Executive Director of Superbook Operations here at the Westgate. Now, this week we're talking big bets. So I want to ask you about the process of placing a big bet here at the Superbook. What does that entail?
Just depends a lot on the guest. If it's a known player, they usually make all their big bets on their phone accounts because we've gone in and set their limits for them, specific to their parameters, who they are. If you're a new player, you're going to want to come into the counter, speak to a supervisor or a manager. Depending on how big the event is and how much money we have on it, you should be able to take your action.
Now, you touched on the type of event having an impact. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, if it's a big game, like let's say the college football playoff semifinals or the college football national championship game, there's a lot more money in the pool. It's easier for us to give a bigger bet than we would on, say, week 1, week 2, or even the conference championship games this weekend.
Now, do you recall what the biggest bet has been placed here at the Superbook, just from recent memory?
Recently, on the college football side, it would have to be Georgia for $250,000 against Alabama in the national championship game. If you want to talk pro football, Cincinnati +4 against LA in the big game last February, and he won by 1 point because LA missed that extra point. It's just hard being on this side of the counter, so I'm always in the media looking for sympathy.
Always looking for sympathy, but you know, $250,000, that's really nothing. That doesn't even make a dent, right?
Well, it was $385 on that Cincinnati bet.
Oh.
$250,000 in college. You're right, that was no big deal.
Yeah, chump change. All right, Dave, we'll send it back to you in studio.
All right, thanks, Mariah. Unless you want to be sleeping on the couch, be careful betting bigger. Jack will have some teams and players you might want to look at. Plus, Brandon Marshall made a lot of tackles during his career. He's going to tell us his biggest hit, what it was, and if it hurt.
As we head to break, the Thanksgiving Day game between New York and Dallas attracted the biggest TV audience ever for a regular season game. The game averaged 42 million viewers according to Nielsen. That number beats a 1990 Monday night game between the G-Men and San Francisco.
Beat the Odds is sponsored by Superbook Westgate Las Vegas.
The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Legendary. Vegas. Fun. Enjoy Westgate's classic gaming and entertainment. Savor fine dining. And experience the world's largest sportsbook, Westgate Superbook. It's all at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Now you can get your favorite jersey faster than ever at Fanatics.com. Introducing Fanatics MVP with next business day shipping. Official jerseys from all the leagues and teams you love. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
You love our show. Now you can get even more from BeatTheOddsTV.com. Betting lines, trends, and analysis of the big games.
The difference between a bad beat and a big win.
BeatTheOddsTV.com.
Welcome back to Beat the Odds. Jalen Hurts had a big night last Sunday. He became the first player with 150-plus rushing yards, 150-plus passing yards, and multiple passing touchdowns in a single game.
Hey, we got a Vegas fun fact, too. When Allegiant Stadium was being built, a Kansas City fan was one of the workers, and get this, buried a Kansas City team flag on site. It is now underneath that stadium forever. Well, scan that QR code. It will take you to a wonderful place, BeatTheOddsTV.com. And by the way, Kansas City has won every game inside there, so perhaps it's a good omen. Let's bring back Brandon Marshall. How are you, my friend?
First of all, they should arrest that man. They should arrest that man for doing that. But I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing great, thanks. Yeah. It's always great to have you here. So going big is today's theme, and you have some big surprises, both good and bad, that you've noticed so far. What do you have for us? We'll start, I guess, with the negative side.
Yeah. We'll go with the AFC West. You know, a lot of people touted this division as the best division in football. You know, Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert. You know, everybody, they thought, okay, this is going to be a great division. but it turned out to be the opposite. The way Las Vegas looks, the way Denver looks, it looked terrible, to be honest with you. Los Angeles is on the cusp, but you know, having a new quarterback in Russell Wilson, you would have thought Denver, it would have elevated Denver into the higher ranks.
Yeah, some people had them going all the way to February, and that's obviously not going to happen. Now, the guy who replaced Russell in Seattle is one of your good surprises.
100%. I mean, nobody would have thought. You know, everybody, you know, they touted it and they looked at Seattle like, okay, they're just going to be, you know, it's a tank year or the down year.
Playing for the draft.
Absolutely. But, hey, you know, Geno Smith came out and proved everybody wrong. He has 19 touchdowns to Russell's 8, right? 107, you know, passer rating to Russell's 83, and it's kind of mind-boggling. So it makes you think, is Russell more of a system quarterback, you know, than we would have thought?
Wow. All right, I actually Googled you this morning. I wasn't stalking you, I promise. I was trying to look up how many career tackles you have, and it's well over 400. You had a great career. Is there one hit, one moment, like a big tackle that stands out in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big moment for me on the negative side, by the way. I'll never forget it. It was very embarrassing. We were playing Green Bay in Denver. They were driving, and then, you know, they ended up getting into the goal line, and it was a run play, so they decided to run the ball, and they handed it off to Eddie Lacy, right?
Big boy.
Big boy, right?
Yeah.
It was me and Eddie right in the hole, and I'm very confident in myself, but I stepped into the tackle, and he literally just ran me right over. Scored a touchdown. One of the most embarrassing moments I've had in my career.
Did you get a lot of from the guys?
Absolutely. I was like, come on, B, what are you doing? I was like, hey, sometimes it happens.
All right. Well, thanks, Brandon. That was great. We appreciate you as always. Well, this one shocks me. When it comes to betting bigger, Jack says be careful. Jack says be careful? The same guy who threatened to wear lederhosen on the show earlier this year?
You know, when you're bigger, you've got to protect your heart. And I don't need some intentional safety late making me kill over dead. So I watch those things if I'm going to press my wagers up. And what's interesting, if you're going to, and I do at times, but if you're going to press it up, what you want to do is find defenses that are really, really good. What I found is that you definitely have offenses that are going to play well at times, get out to big leads, but it leaves that back door open when your defense will not carry you. And there's a lot of different motivations late in the game. Teams will set starters, they'll rest, especially we get later into the season. So you've got to be careful. Teams playing really strong defense, I would look there first. The other one are teams that play really bad offense. I mean, these sounds like simple things, but if you're going to be pressing your wagers up, you want to look at in pro football at the teams that are maybe given double digits to other teams. Those have a real high percentage of covering late in the year. And you've got both LA teams, both New York teams, Indy, all those teams struggling offensively, not necessarily overall. So you're not going to have to give all that many points, but you want to find a really good offensive team. Look for Buffalo when Josh Allen's playing well, maybe Dallas, those type teams, to get that span, to get away from the number so you're not killing over dead late with a backdoor cover.
Yeah. All right. Jack, professing caution for once.
You know,
bookmark the show, everybody.
Got to balance it, right?
All right. Well, this next segment is going to be a lot of fun. Teddy will try to help us $10 bettors, and we have a guy who just won $75 million. Mattress Mack joins the show next.
And Dave, do you know the answer to this question? What movie did Mattress Mack and his wife co-produce? The answer, the action comedy Sidekick starring Chuck Norris. We talk to him next.
The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Legendary. Vegas. Fun. Enjoy Westgate's classic gaming and entertainment. Savor fine dining. And experience the world's largest sportsbook, Westgate Superbook. It's all at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Welcome back to Beat the Odds. Did you know Green Bay has approximately 140,000 people on its waiting list for season tickets? More than 99% of the team's season ticket holders renew every year, and that means fans waited 50 years or more for season tickets. It's why a lot of Green Bay fans add their children to the list at birth. Maybe there will be a drop-off this year, though.
Thanks, Mariah. Yeah, Green Bay a mess right now. Bad for you fans, but potentially good for bettors, perhaps. All right, Teddy, so we're talking, big, betting big. What do you have for us?
Well, when you're talking about times where you might want to step up your wager size, certainly riding streaks is one of those times. You talked about Green Bay as a team that has consistently underperformed. It's okay to step up your wager if you've cashed multiple tickets betting on or against the same team. And then you want to do it again, and then you want to do it again, and you want to do it again. Those are step-up wager times. Absolutely. Those are times where it's very reasonable to make a big bet. It's also reasonable to make a big bet when the markets are slow to adjust to current form. Team starts out cold and then they get hot. Sometimes it takes a little while for the markets to adjust. Teams start out hot and go cold. It takes a while for the markets to adjust. So
would like Tennessee be a good example of that?
A perfect example of that. Cincinnati's another one. They started 0-2.
Hey, look at me acting like I know something about gambling.
And of course, cluster injuries are a key factor when it comes to step-up size wager. If a team loses all of their key personnel, we'll talk about that before this show is through, but when a team loses everybody or has cluster injuries all over the place, you just keep fading them and fading them and fading them, and you can step up your wager size. And last but not least, Jack's been real good, Fat Jack, talking about some of the totals and some of the total streaks that have been going on. Don't forget those totals when it comes to riding your streaks and stepping up your wagers. All
right. Thank you, sir. Well, here we go, flying high above the Las Vegas Strip. Love that view. If you want to make a quick trip here, by the way, the National Finals Rodeo is in town. That's always a great time. Hey, do us a favor, scan that QR code. It will teleport you to our website, bettorodds.tv.com. All right, so the most famous sports bettor in America right now is Mattress Mack. This guy bets big and just won big. I mean, look at this. Here's Mack in Las Vegas. He needed a wheelbarrow to haul off all that money. Mattress Mack won a record $75 million when Houston won that baseball title. Now, his real name is Jim McIngvale, but we all know him as Mattress Mack, and he's joining us now on Beat the Odds. Thanks, Max, for taking some of your time. Now, can we call you Mac? Jim, what do you prefer?
I've been called worse. Just don't call me late for dinner. Call me Mac.
All right. Sounds good. I have a question for you. How heavy was all that money in that wheelbarrow? I saw the tweet of you barreling all that money out of here.
I tell you how heavy it was. It was only $10 million out of the 75, but it was so heavy it popped the wheel on the wheelbarrow there at the tarmac in Las Vegas at McCarran Airport. So we had to almost lift the wheelbarrow to get it to move. But we got it home, and then we had it at our giveaway party that Sunday night, and then put it back in the bank. So it was very heavy, a lot of money, $10 million, but 75 would have been way too much for me to wheelbarrow.
Oh my Lord! None of us will ever know. Now, when you went to go collect from the local sports books here in Las Vegas, were those guys like in tears? Like, how did they respond to giving you all that money?
Well, Caesar took a hit for $30 million. They were great about it. They helped me promote it, as was MGM. They took a hit for $10 million. So Wynn Casino's $12 million. All of them were great. They're good partners, and they're very happy about it. It's like they say, you're in the sports gambling business. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, and very rarely do you get rained out.
And very rarely do they need a wheelbarrow to get it out of there. Last question for you, Mac. Obviously, this is a sports betting show. Would you have any advice for people watching right now in terms of, obviously people aren't going to bet $10 million, but maybe some nuggets of wisdom from you?
My nugget of wisdom, Josh, would be to always pick some live underdogs where you can get some return on investment. I don't think anybody can beat these lines that are very sharp, NFL, college football, college basketball, whatever. But if you get some live underdogs, then you can get some big return on your money. So that would be my advice, to never gamble more than you can comfortably afford to lose, because gambling is a good avocation, but it can get out of hand. You got to watch it.
No doubt. All right, Mattress Mack, thank you so much for a little bit of your time, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on the show. Have a great day.
You too. Let's finish big. The boys are back with their top picks, plus the wheel of keeping it real. Today, the wheel will reveal who among us is the worst football bettor. Oh no, the stakes are huge. The wheel is next.
As we take a time out, here's one more big factoid for you. Who is the biggest person to ever play in the league? Yes, the biggest physically. That would be LA offensive lineman Terrell Brown, who measures 6 feet, 10 inches tall, and weighs in around 385 pounds. That's one big boy.
Coming at you from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world.
You love our show. Now you can get even more from bettorodds.tv.com. Betting lines, trends, and analysis of the big games.
The difference between a bad beat and a big win.
The interviews, the stories, plus a unique spin on sports history. Your ticket to in-depth content as seen on the show is all at bettorodds.tv.com. Check it out today.
Hey, welcome back. back to Beat the Odds. Once again, the whole family ending the show in style, guys.
Nice.
It's not family style.
Oh, I love you guys.
All
We
right,
should get
now
matching sweaters.
that would be amazing. Wouldn't
Christmas.
It?
I'm going to need 2. We'll sew them together.
Okay.
Oh, stop.
I'll take the under on the number of shows.
For
we
you,
do
I
matching
can
sweaters.
sew.
There we go.
I'm
We
good
should
with
do that
that.
one show. I'm not mad at it. I'm
As
not mad at it,
always.
right?
All style. All right, top pick time. Jack, you get us started.
Yeah, I hate to go back to the well, but Denver's horrible, especially offensively. They can't score. Russell Wilson's been bad. They're 10-1 to the under their last 11. Baltimore's been interesting. You know, they've got Jackson under his contract. They're riddled with injuries on that side of the ball. They've been giving up late points. I don't think Denver could take advantage of that, even if it was an issue. So let's go under in Baltimore-Denver.
All right.
All right, and speaking of that game, I was able to speak with former Pro Football defensive end Trevor Price, who played for both Denver and Baltimore. So he's got that double side, you know? So we asked him about this matchup and what he thinks of it this weekend.
Denver's not very good. That's my thoughts. And Baltimore is they lost, and I know when Baltimore loses, John Harbaugh gets very angry, and they play very well the next week. So I think they're going to run a rough shot over them. This time, there will be a second, but this time it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty brutal.
All right, and you can catch more of my interview with Trevor Price later on this month.
Super great take, by the way.
Yes, very original. No one saw it coming. You really threw out some important information.
We're on
there.
the same side. I like that.
Yes.
All right, Teddy, how about you? What's your top pick?
This one's easy. Look, we talked about riding some streaks earlier in the show, and this is a complete LA collapse right now. All right, they've gone from champions to last place team and just playing out the string. All right. McVay's only previous losing season in LA, they went 0-7 straight up, 0-7 against the spread down the stretch. There's no urgency. All the starters that can sit are sitting for LA. For Seattle, there's real urgency. They've lost 2 consecutive games with a bye in between. And of course, Geno Smith on the road. Look at these numbers. They put up 48, 32, 37, and 31 points the last 4 road games. Seattle's offense clicking. Lay it with the road favorite.
Big
Brandon
bet time,
Marshall's
right?
guy, Geno Smith.
Nah, Geno.
Big bet time.
There
Let's
we go.
Get it.
Yeah, but hey,
All right, now it's wheel time, and you guys, the stakes are super high this week. It's it's our 5 heads on the Vegas style slot machine. Today, the wheel is going to reveal who among us is the worst football bettor. It better not be you two.
It's a smart wheel if we can figure this out.
Let's spin that bad boy. Let's see who it lands on. Mariah. All right, how bad are you, Mariah?
You know, last season was good. This season is awful. I just can't win a single thing. This season has been so unpredictable, and I don't even usually, you guys will yell at me for this, but I don't look at the numbers. I go off what I know, and last season it worked. This season it's not working.
That's one strategy.
I made 11 bets on last year's big game. I won 1 of them.
Hard to go 0-10 as it is to go
So
10-0.
we stink.
See you next week.